What is going on, guys? My name is Lextasy and welcome back to the channel, and today I have a super awesome episode for you. Why? Well, because it includes three things: Mopar, high horsepower build, and we are joining a drag race crew, and I'm super excited. These guys are amazing. I've always wanted to join one, and now it is time. So we are bringing our 2006 Dodge Charger RT Daytona Edition that's been sitting here for over a year flooded back out of the grave. It's been rusting here for over a year, and now it is time to bring it to its former glory. We are starting on it now in December. That way it is ready for the drag race season. So without further ado, guys, let's get this video going. We have so much to go over. So what are we looking at here, guys? This is a 2006 Dodge Charger RT Daytona Edition, as you can tell with the lettering here, with the black badging there. This is a super rare. They only made a few thousand of these in 2006. It is the Hemi 5.7 liter. It was a one-owner car. Unfortunately, it was a victim of the Hurricane Ian, so I bought this through Copart for $1,800. We got it running. If you guys haven't seen those episodes from a few months ago, it was running fine, and then at one point it wasn't running fine. No matter how much cleaning of that salt I did on the wiring and everything else, I just could not get this thing to continue running. But when it did run, it sounded good because it's got boiler exhaust as well, so the whole exhaust is done. It's got an intake on it. The car actually sounds really good. But today we are going to be getting this thing ready for a heart transplant. Now you're going to ask, what are we doing? What do you mean? If the car's running and driving, why are you pulling the motor out? Well, the 5.7 Hemi is not really known to have the most high horsepower numbers unless you're completely building it and open it up, and quite honestly, it's not worth messing with the 5.7. So we are going to be doing either a LS 5.3 swap with a turbo 400 and a big turbo, or we're going to be doing a hellcat swap. Now there's been a lot of hellcat swaps done into Chrysler 300s, Dodge Magnums, things like that, and even the old school Chargers, but not a lot of LS swaps into this 06 to 2010 body style Chargers. Now my goal is to get this thing to pop a wheelie at the drag strip and hopefully run mid to low 9 seconds, which is a lot to ask out of a almost 4,000 pound car. There's our beauty right there with 50,000 miles. I truly love this color. I love that it's a Daytona edition, which is extremely rare. I just love everything about it. The previous guy, or the only owner, put on some SRT wheels on here as well to make it really stand out and pop. So let's go ahead and start with the trunk, since this is the closest spot to the camera. And since you guys seen it last time, I have completely gutted this car because, well, I knew the longer it's going to sit here, the worse it's going to get. So I took all the fabric out, all the seats out, as much of the interior as possible. Look how rusted everything is. I mean, every terminal, every part on this, no matter how many times I've tried to fix this fuse box, I cannot get all the salt out of it. So all of this wiring is going to be completely taken out of the car because we're going to run a standalone ECU. Another reason why we'll never be able to register this car again. I've never had a truly drag race oriented vehicle, so this is going to be a great start for us and something for me to really have fun in. And that's what we're kind of thinking about doing an LS, because, well, at the end of the day, you can find those parts anywhere. But let's go ahead and move to the back seats here. I got some lighting in there so you can see. Door panels are still on because, well, honestly, it doesn't matter, but I think there is water in here as well. I took the seats out. I haven't looked inside the fuel. I think fuel is good because obviously we ran the car. We even put some additives in there to make it better. But you can see not only was there a lot of salt and stuff in here, but also a lot of dog hair. But the car was actually pristine, but I guess they had a massive dog that sat in the back. I got as much of the interior out as possible. Look at all that rust though. It is really starting to show itself, especially in these corners right there. It's getting really bad. So we're going to have to eliminate that as soon as possible. Let's move to the front is here. But like I said, the wiring doesn't really matter because we're going to have standalone. Even going to the fuel pumps, I'm going to have to figure out with my race buddies how we want to exactly take out the wiring, because I've never done a project on this major size. The fact that the battery actually is located in the back, you see that red cable running all the way back there from factory, that's actually pretty cool, and that's going to help us because we're going to do that anyways. Now the dash itself looks great. It's not cracked, it's not rusted, well, at least from the outside. But if you look underneath here, everything is rusted through. I mean, every single steel or metal piece that you can find has been touched by rust. I mean, even you can see it behind the dash as well. So I'm thinking we're definitely going to have to get rid of that as well. We're going to do different steering. Everything is going to be completely redone in this car. We're going to have a race seat in here, so we'll have new brackets as well. Now this is the part I really need you guys help with, because because, well, I have never cleaned salt out of a car before, and from all the stuff I could find online, they said to use vinegar, so I did grab some from Lowe's. This is really strong stuff. This is no joke. This isn't like your ordinary stuff you buy at Walmart or Ingles or wherever you go for your grocery shopping. This thing literally, it says 6 times more powerful than standard vinegar. So, you know, we're bringing out the big guns, and even on the back of here, it says can remove or clean rust and rust stains off tools and concrete. So it definitely knows what it's talking about when it comes to rust, and that's what we're hoping for. So we have it in our spray bottle here. I bought brushes. I bought a brush for the vacuum as well, because I think we're gonna scratch as much of the major salt off first, and then we're gonna move on to putting our gloves on, and then probably using this brush by hand brush, and I even have like a drill brush as well to get as much of it off. Then we spray it down, then we're gonna do a lot of wiping as well. So it's gonna be a long, tedious process. We're gonna start in the back because this right here was full of water when we got it. So this is before, kind of gives you an idea. Let me get some light in here. There we go, that's better. So you can see how much rust is in here. Look at that brown stuff, man. The line of brown going in there as well. So we're gonna start with the trunk, see how much of this we can clean out. I would have never in a million years thought that vinegar would be the lifesaver for rust. Look at that difference, guys. Everything, it looks so much better, so much brighter. We got most of it out. This is just the first pass on here, but all the grime that was in these little holes and pockets everywhere, look at that. It looks like a brand new car. It looks completely different. We got most of the rust here. Now, I did learn 2 things. Number 1 is definitely wear a mask and put a fan in there, because you do not want to be breathing this much vinegar like I was. I definitely lost some brain cells doing that. And number 2, well, don't use a brush whenever you're doing it. Maybe in spots like this little, you know, spot, the tub where the spare tire was, it's okay. But these bristles were too rough. And as you can tell, I kind of scratched up the paint on here. Obviously, it doesn't matter because it's a drag race car, but it's still, I feel so bad for doing it. So as you can tell, not a lot of damage here, but once I got up here, you can see where it left those swivel marks on there. So I think going down the line in there, I'm not going to use it because it's also taking off the paint, which we don't want doing. So we'll probably do more of just wiping and using these. These are a lot softer. This is for like cleaning dishes or heavy duty scrub brush, but it's not as heavy as the other one is. But now it gets a lot more fun because, well, we're going to move into, God, look how dusty it is. I feel so bad for this baby. Yeah, this is the boss level of rust. Oh, look at that. It's packed in there. It's like layers of salt everywhere. Everything got completely hit with it. You can see that. Look at the rust. You can see it behind the plastics. It's so bright because it's just been sitting there. Yeah, we're gonna have to just take the whole dash out and make this a complete race car. Oh my God, whoever told me to use this vinegar right here, especially the concentrate, that's 6 times more powerful than standard vinegar. Get this from Lowe's because it worked wonders on this car. That's set here for a year untouched, full of salt, full of wet, flooded water from the ocean. And look at the difference, guys. This is completely a different car now. The top, you guys already seen. The interior, look at the interior. I would say got about 96-97% of all the rust and salt out of here. It literally looks like a brand new car. You can see that beautiful coating, that orange color that the whole chassis and the body was sprayed. All right, guys, so it's actually the next day, and while we're waiting for Adam to show up and introduce himself, I actually just got off the phone with him. He said, you know what, man, go ahead and take the dashboard out because, well, obviously we do need to get to the brackets and all the rusted parts behind it, but we do want to keep the dashboard because it is numbered, so it, you know, number 702 out of 4,000, which is pretty cool for a Daytona edition. But we do need to get to those brackets so we can clean those up, reuse them, and also I need to get the HVAC unit out because, well, this bad boy right here weighs 4,000 pounds from factory when it's not gutted, obviously, when it's full weight. But taking the HVAC unit out, that's going to knock out probably another 10 to 20 pounds. Who knows how much the stuff is in there behind the dashboard itself by the firewall. But we're not going to be using, obviously, AC or heat. All that adds extra weight. And just like that, the dash is actually out of the car. Let me show you. The dash itself, obviously plastic, so it looks in a really good condition. Nothing wrong with it. But I gotta say, even the bolts that were up here holding the dash by the windshield were rusted through. That's how much water got in here. There was a bunch of padding underneath the dash that we're gonna throw out, including the passenger airbag, because obviously we don't need it, nor do I think it actually would work because it's extremely rusted through, and all the connections as well. I mean, there's even the piston itself or whatever it's called is rusted. And now you can see the damage or how much rust we're actually dealing with, this is crazy. No, look guys, I believe in like fixing flooded cars. Sometimes you can get away with, like I said, when it's just the floor itself and it's easy wipe up and you're good to go. But sometimes you just don't know what you're getting yourself into, and people buy flooded cars thinking that it's all good, and then you get underneath the dashboard and look at this. I mean, all of this metal needs to be taken out. In order to do that, it looks like we will have to actually take the steering wheel off. Not that I see that, or at least loosen off the brackets there. Progress is progress, and we definitely got the brace off, so that's a good thing. And you can tell just how rusty this bad boy is. It's probably worth just freaking buying a new one than messing with that. But I do want to try our vinegar solution that we used on the whole car and see how that does. I feel like we can get most of that rust off just by doing that, and then we'll do a black coating of some sort of a protectant on there. Like I said, unless I could just buy one for dirt cheap. But look at this mess that we're left with. Now the rest is easy, and that's the HVAC system, which we'll handle next. And just a few, looks like plugs, a few bolts, and all that garbage should come out of there. That's just a lot of extra stuff we don't need. After a few excruciating hours, I got all of the HVAC stuff out of here. This has got to be at least 15 to 20 pounds worth of stuff. I also got the wiring out of the car. This right here has got to weigh like 40 pounds, man. Holy snap, the amount of computers. And I mean, it's an 06 Charger. You would never think there's this much stuff inside the car, and I have never seen a more cleaner interior than this. Now all we got left is a steering rack, and I don't even know if we're going to be reusing that, or we're going to have to check with Adam and see what he says. But besides that, everything to the firewall has been completely taken out. All the wiring has been taken out as well, because this car is going to be completely rewired. And the next step in the next video, guys, will be me removing the engine and the transmission and the front clip and the fenders probably, and completely gutting all this out. Things we don't need, like the AC, the Freon, the condenser, and all that good stuff, because, well, none of that is going back in the car. By the way, if somebody wants this motor, Lily's got 50,000, I think 53,000 original miles in here with the transmission. Let me know, and I'll definitely hook you up. A little dirty on the inside, but it was a run and drive, so I know this thing looks good. We'll stick a bore scope in here as well to check it out. Now in this car, we are getting rid of the ABS system, so that is going to be up to me now to be able to actually drive the car. So if I overpress the gas pedal, we're going sideways. It's just going to happen. There's nothing saving us. There's no traction control. It is up to me to make this car work at the track. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, we got Adam here. This is the man that's allowing us to join, I guess you could say, his team, man, his race crew, and you got Nate there as well. So these guys, as you can tell, specialize in literally everything. You got Mustangs up top, you got Camaros, old school Camaros, you got Corvettes, bro, with some very nice slicks on there. So they obviously do it all, man. I'm actually really excited about it, bro. This should be a lot of fun next season. How long have you been doing this, man? How long have you been racing on at the track, totally, you know?
So at the track, we've there's videos from cars that we built, like the stuff that I've ran, or the same group from 2013, 2010.
Wow, so 10 years ago.
It's about as long as we've been driving, we've been doing it.
Dude, so you touched every motor, man.
Yeah, like 15
years, dude. And like I said, this ain't your mom and pop shop, guys. There's a very nice engine sitting back there that I don't even want to know how much that sucker costs right there. But I mean, what are you thinking on the Charger? You think it's going to be a good platform just from your experience?
I do. Literally, stuff's come so far. 10 years ago, you had a hard time finding parts and building stuff. It was just different than it is now. Everything's come so far. It's so user friendly. Technology's been so advanced here lately that you can more or less take any platform. If you got a little bit of know-how, a welder, and a little hope, you can take about any platform and make it what you want it to be. Nice. So that's what we do. I mean, we got 69 Camaro. This is going to be a resto mod. It'll run like a new car, drive like a new car, smell like a new car.
That is insane. They literally from top to bottom, they're doing it all, guys. Motor, transmission, interiors being redone. These guys handle it all. Now, this is his bad boy right here. I don't know how much we can actually talk about this car, what's done to it, but this, I mean, the amount of trophies this dude puts up on the wall every time he shows up back here with cash. So I was like, look, man, I want to win some races too. I want to pop some wheelies. So what's I'm guessing turbo car, right? Yeah. From what I understand.
Yeah, so it's a turbo LS, your basic turbo LS. It's got we've had some fun with it this year. Honestly, we've been to like 13 or 14 races. We've won 6 so far. Wow. And this car has been on the track since May. We ain't even made it a full season with it.
Seriously? Yet. Wow.
So it's done well.
But what do you think? Do you think LS is a better platform or what?
I think LS is more user friendly.
Okay.
I think the Hellcat's probably one of the better platforms out there. I just don't think that the aftermarket and the skill behind with people hasn't caught up to Hellcat yet. Okay. So like all the newer, the 6.2s, 6.7 stuff, they're all still kind of new for everybody. LS has been out and work trucks, vans, all that stuff. So I feel like LS is probably more user friendly and there's a bigger aftermarket for it. The Hellcat stuff's probably a little more specialty, but I would never knock any of the Hellcat stuff. I think they're cool. I love them. Like your Durango, that thing is sweet. Yeah. So
that sucker puts up, man, 35,000 miles of and nothing going wrong. But I mean, like with the LS, like you were saying, if we blow a motor, man, it's like $500-600 and we get another core and go from there. So yeah,
if we blow a motor up, if it don't kill the block, we can take it. I got a guy in Mount Airy. We'll pull it out, take it to him, and he'll have it back together in no time. If we do smoke a block, I got another guy. We'll just
just redo it. And then the transmission wise, what would you do if we did an LS?
I'm a big Power Glide fan just because I only like to shift one time. It takes the brains out of it. But my other buddy is a 3-speed guy, Nathan. He's kind of weird. He's stuck somewhere in the middle.
He's kind of
likes them both.
Dude, so it's gonna be fun. Do you think like this season? I'm completely new to this much work. Do you think we'll be able to do like, I don't know, pop wheelies on that thing or get like 800 horsepower if we did an LS or whatever, or a Hellcat? Because we'll get, I mean, we got a lot out of that thing, probably 700, 800 pounds. So I wonder what it's going to actually weigh and power to weight, how that's going to do.
Well, honestly, we hadn't got funny with the hole saw yet either.
Oh.
So we'll feed Nathan about 4 Red Bulls and give him the hole saw and let him really get with it.
Have at it, yeah. Right. I never thought about that.
We'll have that thing light before long.
So what would you take out in the car? What could you possibly hole saw?
Yeah, just start cutting the lanyard skins.
What?
If you need to.
And now, when it comes to like, you know, the other events that you go to, do you think it will perform pretty good as a Charger?
I do.
Power to weight and all that. You think it'll be something different, or?
So we do primarily no prep stuff, and the kicker with no prep.
So explain no prep.
So no prep is like what your old school racing you would do on some back road somewhere without having to be on some back road. So your no prep events, so you take it to a track, they either scrape it or don't put any glue down. Whenever I say glue, BHT. Yeah. So like your radial cars, when you see a radial car do a 1.360 at 180 out the back, they're glued down. So they make those cars stick to the track. Whenever they do no prep, they don't do anything. So you can take a car that has a lot less power and put it against a car with a lot more power, and they still be competitive in the same class.
If you're saying you're gonna run this car, you're gonna get the Mustang ready and the Charger, are you gonna be able to kind of handle it all? Because I'm not even no master mechanic or nothing, bro. So I'm gonna need a lot of help when it comes to this stuff. But
none of us really are either. We just kind of got a little bit of know-how. We know where we stay in our lane, but we got a good team. Nathan helps me a lot. He knows the car as well as I do. My other buddy Tyler he knows the car as well as I do. Tyler probably knows that car better than anybody.
Nice.
That car and his car are the same. Yours will have the same. If we do LS, it'll have the same ECM as mine does.
Okay.
So
the Holly?
As far as tuning the car, setting the car up, they're kind of car specific.
Okay.
But we have enough people there to make it work.
Makes sense.
And we all just help each other. We're missing a couple pieces to this puzzle too. We have a white Camaro that's in this group.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
He's hidden in South Carolina. He's been going through a house move, so hasn't been up here. And then we got the other blue twin turbo car down here too, so it'll be out this season with us, I hope.
Imagine if we like had a massive shop, guys. If YouTube takes off and we do really good, man, imagine just having like an actual race team like Reinhardt Racing or something, dude. That would be so sick. We could come in here and that's all we do full time.
We run under AHR, which is after hours racing. That's kind of our thing. There's two sets of it in Nashville. There's after hours racing, the 828, which is like the car club, car scene type deal. Yeah. And then after hours racing is ours. We've always ran under that.
When does the season start, would you say? 2-3 months from now?
Yeah, I'd say March really. Early March is really the season. We're going to run some street stuff over the winter. Like we got a cash days coming. We are currently the undefeated cash days guys.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Here, the local. I didn't get to go to the last race. The guy that won he is really fast and he well deserved that race. So
wow.
But we got another one coming up. Hopefully we do as well in it as we have before. So
some changes to make.
Yeah, we got some changes coming.
Especially racing in the winter, man. That's a completely different animal, dude. Guys, you heard it here first, man. This is going to be a big season. So for whoever just joined, if this is the first video watching, definitely subscribe. We're going to have a lot of content. Follow me on Instagram as well, because there's going to be a lot of behind the scenes that we're going to do. But dude, I'm so freaking excited, man. This is something different. It's one thing to go to the track and just have fun, like test and tune, but to actually enter into races, man. And it's a car that, like, you know, if something goes wrong, we can always put a new body on it. We can swap the motor into something else. So it's not a big deal. But dude, I am so excited, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy your lives, man. I will see you in the next episode. We're going to be pulling the motor out. Hopefully Nate's going to be around to help out a little bit because we're going to need it. But I'll see you guys, and let's get this build going.